You're listening to Real Estate for Real People, hosted by the Stone Sisters. The Stone Sisters have built an award-winning realty business, and they're here to share some of their knowledge with you. A new episode drops every Thursday. If you enjoy the show, please share it with a friend and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And visit www.stonesisters.com for more information just like this.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us again for another episode of Real Estate for Real People. I get to be excited this time.
You are excited. I'm happy and thrilled.
We are really excited to introduce our guest today and learn all about swimming pools, because we live in the Okanagan and it gets hot here, and who doesn't want a pool?
Absolutely.
So Cam Laker is a friend. I've met him through EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, a group that both Sean and I are part of, and the owner of Purely Pools. So tell us a bit about yourself and welcome.
First, before you start, I have to interject. These sweatshirts are amazing.
You guys look fantastic.
Yay!
I love this. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So for those of you who are just listening and can't see us, Cam brought some beautiful pink, like hot pink, fluorescent pink hoodies. They're so cozy and soft. They've got the Purely Pools logo on the front and on the back.
We're the only construction company in the city with a hot pink color motif.
I love it.
This is awesome. So thank you. Sorry, I interrupted you. But
it's okay. So Purely Pools. Yeah, we, myself and two others, I've got two business partners. We started it in May of last year. Got off to an incredible start. And interesting fact, so Kelowna's got the highest pools per capita in Canada of any city.
Wow.
20% of homes, as this Globe and Mail article from 2017, so 20% of homes in Kelowna at that point have a pool.
Wow.
Plus
And
with
that
all the
grown.
incredible growth that we've had in this city since then. And it's got the highest per capita. So this is a pool. This is like pool capital of Canada.
not surprising, because we're kind of like Canada's Hawaii.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
35-degree heat. You want a pool. So
Well, and a good season. You know, we
Yes.
have a long season, so longer than most places in the country. So
I fully agree.
it's true.
Well, the family and I, we moved here. My wife and daughter moved here 2 years ago. For all the reasons people are moving here for, just space and quiet and listening to the frogs at night instead of highway, right?
Yes.
And it's just hot here, and everybody wants a pool. You're right.
yeah.
So, but I was blown away that almost 20% of single family homes have a pool here.
It's funny because as you say that, that number is staggering. But as you say that, I'm thinking, you know what? You're right. And it's only grown. I mean, the amount of building or pool permits that have been in place through the city, I mean, those numbers have just been climbing and climbing every year.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, we track our website carefully and look at what people are looking for. And in the top 3, things that people talk about, they're all P's actually. So it would be pool. Well, no, Lakeview's not. Lakeview,
Panoramic Lakeview. Okay.
Panoramic Lakeview, pools and privacy.
Yeah.
So pool is right up there. That's
great.
a big thing that people want.
Well, that's awesome, because I've got some questions for you guys today too, but around
Awesome.
this. But, so yeah, the pool business, I mean, it's fun, right? Our core purpose as a business is to build awesome pools and make people happy. And, an example, I saw my daughter learn how to swim this summer in the backyard. And,
Wow.
so, they are expensive, but they are a quality of life type decision that you can make. And
Well, and you get the money back, I would say, generally speaking, and we'll get into costs about pools. But I think that's something that you get your money back.
From a resale point of view, absolutely.
I believe so. Yeah. And I think that the opportunity that we saw, and there's some fantastic builders in the city, and some great pool builders, but the market, there's so much demand for it. We felt that we could carve out a little space for ourselves, and we wanted to have fun with it, right? And pools are supposed to be fun. We're building pools. I mean, it's, you think about the experiences growing up as a kid and even as having a family, and the amount of time you may spend around the pool in the backyard. So we're building fun, right? And that's why our brand is supposed to be fun, and our team is just a group of people where you be comfortable with your 5-year-old son or daughter hanging out in the backyard with our crew.
Yeah.
They're really great guys, extremely trustworthy, and just good family people, right? And we care a lot, and it's been a lot of fun. It's really early. We're cranking. I mean, this weather in January has allowed us to pull a few projects forward, and we got 2 digs starting this morning. That started at about 7:30 this morning.
Already. Crazy.
Yeah, things are busy.
January. You're starting
January.
pools.
I mean, this isn't typical
This is
January
why, for
weather.
those
No.
of you who want, this is typical weather in the Okanagan. So if you're
Very
in
good point.
Winnipeg right now
Yeah.
or Saskatchewan and you wish to move, this is normal for January.
We're digging for pools here right now.
That's right. We're going to play a round of golf right after this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the business has been fun, and we wanted to it's a little whimsical, but when you meet our team, you kind of get the brand a little bit, right? And hence the colors and the look. And our hope is that everybody has a really enjoyable experience in working with us. So it's construction projects are painful.
Yeah.
Having your backyard dug up and dirt everywhere and cleanliness issues and all that stuff. It's the process is not a lot of fun. The outcome is fantastic, but the process is a big part of how we drive a really positive experience for our customers. So
I love that.
Tell us a little bit about that. Tell us what makes the process different with you. I mean,
yeah, sure. So first off, if you reach out to us via the web or the phone, we've got a dedicated sales group that will be in touch with you within 24 hours. So we may not get a hold of you, but we're going to certainly try to get a hold of you within 24 hours. So quick response. Communication has been a big part of I guess one of the things our customers are saying they value. When I built my pool, I didn't know anything about pools. I didn't know what the process was. And what we try to do is really educate. And different pool builders will go through different steps and different process. Not different steps, but I mean, the process is similar, but we just find that communication is critical. Every Monday, every one of our customers gets a full update on what did we do last week? What are we doing this week? What are any of the issues that we foresee and any impact to the timeline? That has helped our homeowners.
Amazing.
Our homeowners like that, but we try to simplify it for them. But the home builders we're working with too are really a big fan of it because, as you can imagine, they've got lots of moving parts and they don't want to have to worry about their pool builder. So we've been able to succeed with that. But consulting and really going in and trying to make sure that nobody overspends. I know it's kind of a silly thing to say when we're all trying to drive revenue and sales, but at the end of the day, you want someone to be happy. And we want to make sure that we educate and make sure that they're really going in with eyes wide open on making a decision like this. These types of projects can get very, very expensive and
very quickly.
And we want to make sure that we're, part of this is the pool can be fantastic, but if you feel like you've overpaid for it,
you're not going to enjoy it that same way.
Enjoy it as much, right? You want to feel like you got great value, and that's going to really go drive the overall experience you have with a product that we build and ultimately our brand. So, the basic steps are you excavate, you build the frame, or you drop in a fiberglass pool. You backfill and you plumb and you get done. So that's all the same, but communication and making sure, like we've got midpoint surveys that go out to our customers midway through the project to say, is there anything we're missing? Is there anything that can make your experience better?
Wow, that is incredible.
So those are the little things. And my background prior to pools is more in the technology and services industry. So I've been able to pull a lot of those processes from other industries into this space that have been able to fit really well.
Love it.
Yeah, it's. I wouldn't say how we build.
You can't over communicate.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I think we're constantly trying to get better at it. And whether it's a text, email, or just talking when we get on site, it's important for us to have an anchor communication program where every Monday everybody gets an update on where things are at. And
so smart. I love that.
Yeah, and the other commitment is something goes wrong, we're going to fix it. We're not going to hide it. So you pick a piece of garbage on the ground, you pick it up, right? And the philosophy of our guys is there's things that can go wrong in a build that the homeowner would never know. But if our commitment is that if something's wrong or something gets missing, something happens, especially building pools in the winter, you get pipes that maybe crack or it's different. We'll fix it, and we promise to fix it, and we'll warranty our work. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
And what are some other examples of problems? I mean, you said that my mind goes down the rabbit hole, and I'm like, so what would happen if you dig and you find a bedrock?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess you'd
pet
have to blast.
Yeah, right. You might have to blast. We'll bring in. We'll do a geotech survey before we start, so we'll make sure we're double checking that we're building on the right. You can't put a giant pool on top of mud, right? So you've got to make sure there's the proper foundation there and going through the right steps. Those are the things that you should definitely be asking your pool builder if they're doing the processes and the steps, and making sure that. Well, there's a couple things. I mean, really, it's making sure that we've got. They're not cutting any corners, and I'm not suggesting anyone does, but these are just important education pieces, and making sure that the pool is being built to a spec that hits the National Pool Institute specs, standard building specs, and a lot of these things you need for the license anyhow,
right?
Permit, but. Yeah.
So what are you seeing if we jump to sort of talk about trends of pools? Because I know, here in sunny Okanagan, we have lots of pools as we talked about, but what are the trends? Is it changing? Is it, for a while there, we were seeing small pools, dipping pools. And I don't really know if we're seeing that as much, but what do you see? Do you see anything earth shattering or?
Yeah. I think when it comes to I mean, we're seeing everything from vinyl concrete, steel, and fiberglass right across the board. I would say the majority of our builds are either concrete or vinyl right now. Vinyl's quite a bit. Vinyl's a little bit less expensive. We can talk about that in a second. But I think there's some interesting, besides things like liners, there's not a ton that's super different. I do think that if you only know pools from 20, 30 years ago, there's things like a saltwater chlorinator that right now, instead of throwing chlorine pucks in your pool constantly, getting a saltwater chlorinator so that the water's softer, it's easier on your skin, you're a little more buoyant in it, and it doesn't smell like chlorine, right? Not like I love H2O. I go there with my daughter all the time, but you smell like chlorine
100%
for days
for obvious reasons, right?
Yes.
But I think what we're finding now is majority of people, if not all, go with salt water. What's interesting, and the stuff that's really starting to pop up, and what we're starting to dig into here, is we're starting to get a lot of requests for cold plunges.
Interesting. Okay. I love that.
So, and there's enormous health benefits to doing the sauna cold plunge stuff. Yeah. So we're starting to evaluate that and trying to find a really smart way. I mean, most cold plunges right now, unless you're just buying a barrel and filling it with water and ice, you can do it on the cheap. But some people want something a little more regulated with a proper filter. So we're starting to evaluate how we can go in and add that in as an option to our customers. And what we love about it is the health benefits are incredible. I'm an active cold plunger. I absolutely love it. I don't have one at my house. This is I'll have the demo product probably at my place, but that's something that's interesting. People are looking at their backyards as kind of a little bit more as a wellness center maybe than it is just a fun zone to crush beers on the patio.
For sure.
Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we do live on Okanagan Lake here. So you could, I mean, there are tons of people. You drive around in town and you see people at Gyro Beach or Rotary Beach. I'm like, it is so cold out and you're going for a dip.
So it's cold. So cold plunging, you typically need to be below 15 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
That lake right now is 4 degrees.
Yeah.
So
3.5.
Okay. So
it's
just 15. So if you did a cold plunge, you can keep that temperature where you need, which is so much better.
Well, that's the
That
thing
is
is
better.
we're looking at how can you control the same as, all the when you put a pool now, you should be able to control your temperature and even some of your chemical regulation from your phone, right? So those are some of the things that are just ease of use. And then we're looking to implement potentially something very similar for the cold plunge so that you can control it. Because, I mean, if you can get it to 8, 9, 10 degrees versus 3.5, it might be a little bit more enjoyable and you still get the health benefits.
Yeah, that's it. Like that would be,
that's huge.
I've just started. I'm just learning this. So I'm started doing cold showers because I think that's how you're supposed to start.
That's the cheapest cold plunge you could possibly put in your house.
I know.
Just have a cold
but
shower.
it's not quite the same, but I've heard that's how you have to start.
Psychologically though, because you can turn the tap, I think it changes your mindset a little bit. So
it's true. I still have to be like, oh my gosh. And then I have to relax and it's hard.
So I wouldn't say it's certainly we're seeing a massive trend with the just in general, the hot and cold therapy and the benefits to this. And I think it's Andrew Huberman's got a fantastic podcast. He's a health podcaster, and he talks about his research shows that you can get 47 minutes of sauna and 11 minutes of cold plunge per week. You see substantially like a 27% decrease in cardiac disease longer term in your life.
Wow.
I want to be careful what I quote here because some of your listeners might say, well, actually, Cam, the number's maybe like 22 or
right.
So I'm within the ballpark. But,
yes.
So we're starting to look at those types of things as complementary because pools are pools. There's some interesting new liners as a PVC membrane that we've recently started to go and put in. And the PVC membrane, although you're paying probably, so in a vinyl pool, and this is actually a concrete pool we're putting this in on, but a typical liner will last 7 to 10 years, give or take.
Right.
PVC membrane liner will last you like 40 years. It's like putting a metal roof on your house.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Right. It's almost will survive the apocalypse type.
And then
stuff.
what's the increase in cost to do that?
So it'll cost probably 4 to 5 times, but it also looks, it looks way more modern than what you would see in a standard vinyl pool. So we're just building a pool right now down, I've forgotten the street, down by it's a house on the water, fairly large concrete pool. And we're putting in this PVC membrane. It's going to look incredible. We'll get it up on our Instagram pages and all that once it's built in the late spring, summer. But that's a product where you can even put it on a concrete pool because it just looks awesome.
Wow. Oh, so neat.
And no one really knows about it. And they've been around for a while, but they haven't really picked up. But I mean, instead of spending 10 grand every 7 years on,
that's
on a
the thing.
liner,
And truly, that is the thing.
Yeah. And going through the headache and the pain of it. And not to mention, things take forever to get these days. So,
well, and half the time it starts to fade, right? So by what year, depending on where your pool is situated, the liner could start to fade and it won't look as good as it did the first couple of years. Whereas something like this it's a pretty slick product.
Wow.
Now, tell us stainless pools. I think you had mentioned before we started recording here, right? And now tell us about that.
So we partnered up with a company on the island called Dunk Pools. And if you go to their website, there's a whole, let me take a step back. One of the challenges I found with the pool business is there was a lot of smoke and mirrors around cost. Right.
Yes.
It was like, okay, well, here's your pool, but then you got to go to somebody else for excavation and you got to go find your own electrician and
concrete.
And it's like, well, what does that mean? Right. And then you only do the coping. Then what about the rest of the concrete slab?
That's it.
So one of the things I really liked about Dunk is they have a lot of shared values to us. It's like, look at, here's the prices right up front. You can actually build and price your own pool on Dunk Pools. And these pools they come 10 feet wide. So there's some limitations with it.
Right.
And the reason they're 10 feet wide is they can easily get them on a truck and ship them here.
Right.
Put them and drive them anywhere they need to, pretty much. Anywhere they can drive them. And they come in 20, 25, 30, and I think upwards of 40 feet of length.
Wow.
Anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of depth. They look really modern, really slick. And I'm telling you, you dig a hole, you crane this thing in, drop it in, put the plumbing, backfill into the coping. You can be swimming, if everything's lined up, in like a week to 2 weeks.
Wow.
I don't want to make that commitment to anybody.
No, don't worry.
If everything lines up perfectly, it can happen like that. But the Dunk Pool is what we're finding is there's lots of, so we're their main installer for the Okanagan.
Okay.
And we love promoting their product because I believe it's a superior product to fiberglass. There's not as much options, but if you're looking for, so people right now that are putting these in aren't typically with, a bunch of young kids that want to do, they want to dive into a deep pool, cannonballs. This is more for maybe a couple, it doesn't really matter who it is. It could be, but
you could do laps in it though. If they're as long as 30 feet or 40 feet, they're not deep.
Absolutely. And 5 feet's plenty enough to swim.
It's plenty. And you actually, I think from a liability point of view or safety or what have you, we're seeing people get away from diving boards and really deep pools because they don't want people coming and diving.
Well, I don't even think you're allowed diving boards now, are you? I saw something. Someone I know, a friend of ours, had to take their diving board down. So I might be.
I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna go find out about that.
I don't know.
Anyway. We reached out. There's a really neat vendor, and the name will come to me. He's got these beautiful wood diving boards, like wood style, and they just look cool.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Because the diving boards are kind of tacky a little bit.
They are. They really are.
So if you get like this really beautiful piece of art diving board, then it kind of almost looks like a wood surfboard.
I was just gonna say that's what I was visualizing when you're saying that. I'm like, ooh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's quite neat. So the Dunk Pools are great because they're really quick to install. The other thing is a lot of homes in the Okanagan are built on the hill, right? Like if you look at Kelowna and the Okanagan, so they've got the walls are better reinforced, so it actually really helps add more structural integrity to it. Maybe a retaining wall that you're putting up against this. It's not necessary, but it helps create more structural integrity when you drop the pool in.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
We've got lots of clients that are interested in this, and then some with smaller backyards. I mean, you can put a 10 by 20, dunk pool in. And it kind of suits it. You just want somewhere to kind of quickly get wet when it's 38 degrees
that's
outside.
it. That's something to look at.
And sit beside and
Yeah.
Do you really go in it that much? Like swimming actively your whole family? I mean, you do, but not probably. You sit beside it.
Mostly just floating, right? Floating and hanging out.
And you're gathering. Like it's your spot to gather and collaborate together and have that family time. So
and you can get a dunk pool. I mean, with install and everything, you could be looking at 120 to 130. If you went smaller, you can maybe get close to about $100,000 to get done.
So let's talk about that as we start. Let's talk about some of the costs. So dunk pool is 120 and maybe 100 or what have you. What about your kind of standard vinyl pool? Yeah,
vinyl pool. If you're looking at let's just take the size we typically find is around 15 by 30, give or take, right? And that's plenty of pool. And the vinyl ones, the good thing about vinyl is you can kind of shape it and make it any size that you want. You're really not restricted, right? So that's the big benefit with vinyl, is you can create any shape that you want. Most people pick rectangle.
Yes.
But so those, you can, we just finished a quote for one vinyl pool. It's around that size and it'll be about $100,000. That doesn't include any landscaping or extra concrete.
Right.
That's the pool in the ground with a couple feet of coping around the pool. Deep enough to dive into and little splash pad and
Your
Great.
standard sort of pool.
Yeah. So that's where vinyl kind of start. And then depending on the features and stuff you want to add, there's not a ton of features to add. It's not like you're going to be doing like crazy waterfall, water features and stuff. I mean, you can, but, if people are looking to get in and they're budget conscious, I would be looking first at vinyl or at something like a fiberglass or a dunk pool. Concrete is kind of the next level. And I mean, we just quoted on a concrete pool. I won't say where it is, but the quote's over $500,000 to build a concrete pool. It's got 4 infinity edges. And this thing is, if we get this pool, I cannot wait to build it.
No kidding. Oh my gosh. That sounds amazing.
The viewers crossing their fingers for us. It's actually an out of town pool that we're quoting on, but the concrete, again, you've got flexibility on the size and shape and
you could do anything, right?
You can. Yeah. And it's a higher end looking product. And
for sure.
Our pool builder, Sherman Williams, he's been building concrete pools for over actually 18. Yeah. I think our website says 17, but he's actually crested into 18 and he's built over 250 pools.
Wow.
He's, in my opinion, pound for pound, he's the best pool builder in the whole city and really cares about his craft and is excellent at it. And we love doing all types of pools, but we really get juice on building really cool concrete ones.
Yeah.
We're actually, we just won the bid. We're building the pool at Caban, the new project that's across from Gyro Beach there.
Wow. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. So we're going to be, I think it's around a 25 by 70 foot concrete pool that we're building on the 4th floor. It's just, business has been around for 6.5 months. So we're pretty excited to get this kind of, this kind of work already. So,
but when you've got somebody who's been building pools here, for 18 years or building pools for 18 years and has got that skill set and knowledge, together with the communication and
your processes and all of that. I mean, it seems like a perfect fit.
We just keep on stacking all these things on top and we're hoping to build a great business here. Right. And certainly we're off to a good start. That's for sure.
Well, it's neat because I think that you are a business. And I think you just said that, it's the difference of I'm a pool I'm a pool installer or I do pools, whereas you're a company, you're a business and you have a philosophy that you follow and, you have integrity and you stand behind that. And I think that's really impressive.
Yeah. Thanks. So, thanks. At the end of the day, our philosophy and my philosophy has always been, work and business should be fun.
Yes.
It doesn't have to suck. It doesn't have to be constantly. It doesn't have to feel like you're constantly, reaching for resources or capacity or time. So, we take this, it's really important to us that, our guys aren't working 7 days a week and they've got time with their families and we got reasonable timelines. And, I don't know. I just life's a lot more enjoyable when you wake up every day and you get excited and you enjoy what you're doing. Right.
Oh, 100%.
Wouldn't the world be happier if everybody could operate that way or the majority even, or more people?
Yeah.
To have that, I think it would just be better all around.
I agree. So it's neat that you are bringing that to the Okanagan and with your business. So that's very cool.
Yeah. Our team members are, we got a couple of guys that have been in construction for a bit and this is a different environment than they're used to.
Yeah, I'm sure they have to wear pink sweaters. I'm sure, hoodies.
And they love it, right? And we do have black ones as well. So I think the black ones get worn a little bit more because they don't show that the guys are out there getting dirty, right?
Yeah.
So the pink ones are more of the show.
How long does a pool take? Talking about getting dirty and doing that. Yeah. So if I phone you tomorrow to come and give us a quote, you come I don't know the next week. Realistically speaking, how long should somebody sort of anticipate? And of course, it depends where they are in the queue and.
Yeah, of course. So upon reaching out to us, I mean, you should have a quote in your hands from us. If there's no complications or something really tricky about the site, you should have a quote within a week from us, and a detailed line item quote. And our team will go through that quote line by line with you to make sure that you fully understand everything that's in that quote, and making sure that you don't. Some of our competitors, from what I've been told, will leave components, like they'll leave components of the pricing out because you have to go work with another vendor, or some don't include the excavation cost as part of their.
It's a big one.
So we just say, look at like everything you need to get this thing done is going to be in the quote.
Which is so nice.
And we're going to manage the numbers against it, and you only got one phone number to call. Well, there's multiple of us you can call, but we'll be your point of accountability on this. SPA, just single point of accountability to go and deliver an awesome final product. So it should take about a week to get a quote, assuming there's no real complexities. And then, our view on this is that, we've got enough senior level capability in our business that we're going to be building capacity here to go and handle quickly. I've heard rumors that you have to wait a year for a pool.
Yes.
If you call us, you will not have to wait a year for a pool.
Okay, that's
we will
good to know.
staff up.
That's
we will
great.
build the team. We're constantly growing anyhow. So, vinyl pool, if we were to get, takes a couple weeks sometimes to get a permit.
Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's getting, I will say, compared to Vancouver, to get a building permit, it's so nice here in comparison, right? Like apparently you can wait like a year to get a permit in like North Van right now to build a pool.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, anyhow, so we can move pretty quickly. I mean, we can get things moving once the contract's signed. Vinyl pool, we could have a vinyl pool built for you in 8 to 12 weeks.
Wow.
Amazing. Oh, great. So if somebody started in March.
We can move fast. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they can have it in
winter's a
summer.
little, it's a little tricky.
It's unpredictable.
April. Yeah,
But
it is.
if we're starting a pool in May or June, like we would rather, I mean, everybody wants the summer to have a pool. So we would
Yeah.
try to do our best with that. But 2 to 3 months max on a vinyl pool. There's even, if we get everything lines up well, even 2 months is doable. Concrete can be a little bit longer. It's a little
sure.
more artist level to that.
Well, and then
So-
even drying time, like the
Exactly.
concrete needs to cure.
You're absolutely right. So concrete pool can be closer to 3 months. A fiberglass or dunk pool, I mean, they can move really quick. If we've got the product, the challenge with those is you've got to make sure sometimes fiberglass pools the last few years have been really backed up. Like, so you almost have to book these things a year in advance.
Okay.
Because a lot of the main
Availability.
manufacturer, the guys that do, like, there's one out of Tennessee, and they've got a warehouse up in Abbotsford, but you're somewhat limited to the stock that they've got.
Right.
So if you want something really particular that's a prefab, you might be waiting a while. Dunk, on the other hand, they'll custom build anything you need in basically 4 to 6 weeks. So Dunk, which why we really like these guys, is because they're Canadian and we're supporting another local Canadian business. I say local in Victoria, not really local, but
local
BC's
enough. Yeah,
local
BC.
enough.
Yeah.
Canadian, I think. Is the
Yeah,
key.
and they can build it. If they don't have it on stock, they can build it pretty quickly. If you want like a custom splash pad or custom steps, you want something a little bit different. So again, kind of 2 months is probably a fair estimate. And
That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Right?
Yeah.
If you build it over the winter and it's an ugly winter, that's what I did. It took a lot longer because you're at the mercy of the weather.
100%, which is understandable.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So pretty fast.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us where people can reach you. How do we get in touch with Purely Pools?
Sure. You can go to purelypools.ca, which is our website, our Instagram page. And I will admit that we have not been updating it as much as we need to. Our commitment is that we will start doing more social media posts. So you can follow us on Instagram at Purely Pools, Facebook at Purely Pools.
Awesome.
And our number is on the website as well. So it's pretty hard to log in Instagram or Facebook and not see one of our ads. So you'll probably see
that's
those
good.
kicking around. But
Well, and then also just drive around town, look for the hot pink sweatshirts.
There you
2 of
go.
which might be
Yeah.
on Shannon and I.
Yes.
And
I love this. This is my new hoodie. I was just saying, I'm going to wear it to the hockey rink. I
that's
love it.
fantastic.
that was great. It's exciting. And I think, we've got a little bit of sun poking out and it's quite warm here. And it's like, okay, it's pool season coming.
It is pool season, so this is
and
perfect
hot
timing.
pink's a happy color, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so really simple. Just our website is probably the simplest way, and there's a
Beautiful.
forum on there, and Reese from our team will be in touch typically within that day or the next day to
Fantastic.
line up a quick phone call and schedule a site visit. And a week later, we should be able to have put a quote.
Wow.
in
That
front
is
of you.
amazing. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Really
That was
good.
Thank you
great.
for having me.
That was fun.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Estate for Real People. If you want to reach out to the Stone Sisters, visit www.stonesisters.com. This podcast was produced by Podigy Podcasts. See you next time.